God gives you these talents or these blessings that he entrusts you with the duty and the due diligence to multiply, not to go hide and squander it. You can live a purposeful life, right? Where you can obtain wealth, and that wealth can precede you. It can outlive you, make a difference. It's our duty. Why mom going to work every day, like while she on the bus, it's bugging me out. So then I just keep on dreaming harder. It's just a lot of pain, bro.
I think God is responsible for the reason that we're even together in the first place. Just with some of the trials and tribulations in the beginning, it's like God kept bringing us back to each other.
If you're watching this video and you have not subscribed to this channel, then I don't know what you're waiting for. Please subscribe to this channel because we have mind-blowing testimonies. We've shot some amazing testimonies that we can't wait to just release it. We are releasing once a week. Hopefully, eventually, we'll be able to release 2 or 3 times in a week. So please click on the subscribe button and click on the notification bell to get notified each and every time I release a new video. And also, if you're looking for a team, a media company to shoot your commercials, to shoot your weddings, to shoot your parties, or to give you some headshots for your flyers and everything, reach out to my team. That is DH Multimedia. On Instagram, you can DM us or you can give us a call and we would take a very good care of you. Let's get into the testimony.
I was born Gregory Scott Lamar Frazier, and I was actually born around the corner from where we at right now.
Really?
Off of 20th and Mount Vernon, you know what I mean? And my family home is actually, if you take Mount Vernon down going towards Taylor, when you cross Taylor, it turns into Greenway Avenue. So my family home is right down the street, you know what I mean? So born Gregory Scott Lamar Frazier. For those who truly know me, they call me Bookie, Bookie, you know what I mean? So my mom gave me that nickname. I'm an entrepreneur, man, a father to 3 beautiful young women.
Wow.
You know, we're all by the same woman. My wife, Sierra Frazier, you know what I'm saying? And co-founders of our organization called Minorities Making Millions, you know what I'm saying? Through all of our experiences and good and bad, you know, and more so on the entrepreneurship, you know, things, right? We never had a table to sit at, you know what I'm saying? Through our journeys, us and our close circle, as we were, you know, in business and just trying to find our way, we just formed this group, which just was an inner circle community that we started to kind of expand, you know what I'm saying? And just with the focus on, you know, helping our people, you know, close the generational wealth gap, teach financial literacy, and you don't even have to be an entrepreneur. Our thing is like, yo, you can become a millionaire next door. And I know everybody's focus isn't necessarily become a millionaire, but I think it should be, you know what I'm saying? Because even if you don't become a millionaire, you could get close. And ultimately, you know, they said that, you know, a righteous man leaves an inheritance for his, you know what I mean, for his children's children. So we gonna live in this game of life, you know. Why not do it with a purpose and a focus, you know, not just for yourself, right? To actually leave an inheritance. And in order to do so, is just so many different things that you have to become equipped with, right? And with our organization, that's kind of how we bridge the gap on getting, you know, giving people a roadmap to follow, because we were fortunate enough to make it there and we're still making it there, right? So that's kind of a little bit about what I got going on. And, you know, my main focus, or my main, I should say, my main lane or industry, what I actually do full time is real estate. I'm a real estate investor. I've done a real estate investor, you know, car dealership owner. So just a few things that I was fortunate enough to not only to get involved in, but as a child, I had these dreams. Every dream I had as a child, every single dream that I had as a child, I had pursued. You know, whether I failed or succeeded, I literally done it. You know what I mean? So I'm just thankful to be here with you, man. And you know, you could kind of take it from there. You can kind of guide me on, you know, which way you want me to go.
Yeah. So I'm before we get into your story,
It's really cool that you talked about you thinking that everybody should be a millionaire. Why do you think that everybody should be a millionaire? You know, as Christians growing up, I remember as a kid growing up, we were kind of conditioned to think that rich people are bad people.
Yeah.
I remember when I started reading self-help book, and I went to the bookstore and I saw Think and Grow Rich. I'm like, this is not for a Christian.
Right.
So I didn't buy that book. I'm like, hell no. So why do you think it's necessary for people to be financially free?
Because, you know, you can kind of correct me on this. I don't know where it's at in the scripture, but the whole parable of talents. You know what I'm saying? Like, God gives you these talents or these blessings that he entrusts you with the duty and the due diligence to multiply, not to go hide and squander it. So, because you can live a purposeful life, right? Where you can obtain wealth, and that wealth can precede you. It can outlive you. You know what I mean? And make a difference. So it's like, it's our duty, you know what I mean, to as far as the millionaire thing, it's just more so like, with today's economy, with our economics, with, buy, sell, and trade, and in the exchange of goods and services, $1 million or a millionaire, it will put you in position to be able to fulfill the scriptures. You feel me?
What do you mean by that?
More so like this again, right? Me as a man, as a father, as a husband, it's my duty to leave an inheritance for my kids and their kids. How much money is that going to take? You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a little bit more than 100,000, right? And not only that, again, all the talents that God has blessed me with, it's my duty to multiply them. It's my duty to help the sick, the poor, the widow, the youth, right? Because a lot of times, with wealth or financial freedom, in order for one to truly gain that, it comes with you obtaining a lot of wisdom. So usually, if someone's in a great financial position, 9 times out of 10, I could guarantee you, like, it came with a lot of wisdom. It's not about the money; it's the wisdom that it took and that it takes, for God to be able to put them in that position, right? And it's not about us; it's not about ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, it's about paying it forward. It's about making this a better place than it was when we was here. In order to do so, it takes finances. It's nothing free. You know what I'm saying? Oxygen ain't even free, almost, right? So, believe it or not, it takes money. And to kind of what you were saying when you were saying, like, being a Christian, like, you kind of, not even that you're taught, but it's just this prenotation, like, people who rich are slobs and they're just wicked. But I'm here to tell you, man, I got a hell of a story, dog. And, I guess I would say the worst people I know is broke. All the people that I'm able to kind of be around, all my mentors, every person I'm around that has some sort of type of financial freedom, they're like the greatest people I've ever seen, ever been around. And most of them are our counterparts. And they'll give you the shirt off their back. They'll give you $200,000 to go do X and Y and Z.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? When I can't get $20 from one of my brothers or my sisters, you know what I'm saying? Or for whomever in my community to do anything with, so it's just changing the mentality to know, like, money or riches doesn't make people wicked or evil. It's the love of money. You know what I mean? It's that connection to materialism. Like, you're willing to sacrifice. It's when you're in the mind frame of sacrificing something that's eternal for something temporal, right? That's where the disconnect is, and you see those kind of people with riches have a troubled heart or may do wicked or schemish ways, right? But money is just a tool and a resource. It's like gasoline you put in your car. You know, it's just what we trade with.
Exactly.
You know, pretty much.
I really love that because I met a video that said something like, if you drop like say $1,000 or if you leave $1,000 in your car or visible or any valuable thing in your car in a rough neighborhood and people can visibly see, they will smash your car and then grab it. But I know somewhere in New York, I was somewhere in upstate, and my friends would never lock their cars. And they would leave they will legit leave the key fobs in there. I'm like, dude, are you crazy? Somebody's gonna steal. Like, who's gonna steal this car? Like, everybody's wealthy, well-to-do. They're wealthy. They don't need to steal this. And so, like you were saying, it's they see it as a tool.
Right.
And as believers, the Bible talks about we helping the poor and helping the needy. And at times, when we are not financially free, we are not great stewards of what God has given to us. And people come to us and they're in need. We cannot really help the poor. We cannot give to the sick. All we say is like, oh, I'm gonna pray for you, but that ain't gonna pay the medical bills. That ain't gonna put food on the table. So, like you were saying, I think it's our duty to be great stewards of what the gift and talent that God has given unto us, so that He can multiply it, and then we can, like you were saying, we need to get mentorship and education. We need to educate ourselves in order for us to get those knowledge and skills in order to grow financially. So let's start from, you mentioned that you grew up around here. So how was growing up like?
I guess for me, growing up is where all my pain comes from, man. You know, I guess for me, especially being able to look back, you know, but I mean, I hated my childhood, you know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up around here, but you know, I would say that, you know, more so north side of Columbus, more so is where I really, really grew up and became, you know, I guess a young man at, right? But I guess to kind of explain why I feel like that, it's just more so, I guess, for me, like, okay, so I was a kid, right? For example, I was a kid who loved school. You know what I mean? And since day one, I can remember as far as back as being 4. I have a memory I can go back to 4. So I can remember going to school. And I guess for me, when I look at my environment, when I would leave my environment to go to school, and I would learn all these wonderful things and learn how to have a grand imagination. Really, I mean, you got teachers and, you know, faculties, and, you know, I'm a very, very great student, right? These people, these other adults who you look up to as authority figures when you're not at home, right? They're telling you based on, you know, pretty much based on what you're doing, or you know, based on your accomplishments or your work ethic every single day, like how great you can be. And they don't even know you. Know where you come from or nothing. And then you go back home and everybody that's close to you, all they do is like, you know, pretty much suffocate you or pour gasoline on all your dreams and just completely tear you down. Not even knowing that they doing it. Ain't even like they trying to, you know what I'm saying? It's just, that's where I'm from. It's like, how dare you think that you can, what you mean? They said, you know, I'm not, Steve Harvey, when he tell his story, he tell a story about when he in the class, you know what I'm saying? That basically, I forgot what he was saying, but and that's his story. But I guess what I'm saying is, you know, my environment, man, is just crazy. You know what I'm saying? And it kept me defeated for so many years. You know what I'm saying? It still does. You know what I'm saying? But I find the strength to overcome all the time. You know, but it's just like, yo, like the environment of what, you know, pretty much our culture promotes, or whatever the case may be, when you talk about like the hip hop culture or just in general, you know what I'm saying? Every single thing was in my environment at an early age, as far as back as I can remember as 4. When you talking about just living in a dope house or a trap house or whatever they call it, I got, you know, an older brother, older sister, and a younger sister by my mom. I got 2 sisters by my dad. All the kids with my mom, we all had different dads. You know what I mean? Then my 2 siblings with my dad, we got different moms. You know what I mean? So just that dysfunction. I don't remember one day ever really remembering my dad ever being in a home. Ever, never, ever.
He was never
in the home. And when he was, you know, he was just there for a couple of days. You know, I can remember like 5 years old, he was there for a couple of days. You know what I'm saying? He was addicted to crack cocaine, and we was actually getting evicted. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the reason for us being evicted. You know what I mean? And then moved us to, it was an apartment building. You from here? I mean, how long? Okay.
I've been here since 2020.
Okay, so it used to be an apartment building near St. Stephen's Community Center. You know what I'm saying? And they called that the Baby Carter. I don't know if you're familiar with New Jack City.
Nah.
Or, yeah, so anyway, it was just a drug-infested apartment building. And my dad knew the guy who ran the building, who owned the building, and he was a big-time dope dealer back in the day. He got murdered, but it was a smaller version of what you would, I don't want to say New Jack City, but they called it, the nickname for the apartment complex was the Baby Carter.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So when you're around all these different personalities, all of these different characteristics, when you are living amongst the pimps, the hustlers, the hoes, the murderers, and all of the above, and you dealing with them on an everyday basis regularly, you know, some of them is in your family, you know what I mean? Or your mom could be dealing, you know what I mean? It's so much mental abuse that comes with it, and it forces you to not have the ability to dream. You know what I'm saying? When I say pain, I mean like, I'm going over here to get this education. They telling me I could be the president. I can do whatever I put my mind to. But when I come to the crib, it's like I'm surrounded by all of this wickedness. You know what I'm saying? But through my imagination and my strength to still maintain that, and my faith, right, I was able to just act like it didn't exist and just literally live within my mind. You know what I'm saying? And it just really helped me to succumb or to surpass, you know, all of the different powers that be. You know what I mean? And just those type of environments, you know, I begin to see the glitches in the matrix. I begin to see the glitches in reality within people, within circumstances, within just everything, man. I mean, it's like, okay, so my brother is supposed to be this big time dope dealer, you know.
Your own brother.
My own brother, right? And all these guns in the house. We got all this money. You know, I'm 5, 6 years old in charge of the re-up count. I'm counting all this money for my brother because he can't even count it. It's coming in so fast.
What?
You know what I'm saying? Going with him to then turn the money in, get more product. You know what I'm saying? Being
At
with
5 years old?
At 5, bro. Being in the back seat while he's getting fellatio in the front seat from who knows who. All different type of stuff, right? But to circle back to just the fact of, okay, I'm this old seeing all this money while we in kindergarten, first grade. You know how they do like you know, when they try to teach you math or how to count money, they do the paper money, how you cut out the money.
Yeah.
I'm really counting money.
Yeah.
But then, you know, we poor though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Eating powder milk for cereal. It's like, okay, like it's so at that age, it's like, it's these glitches. It's like, we're like, we in the slums. But I just know I just counted $10,000.
So,
you know what I'm saying? So what's going on? Why you know, why ain't no food in the fridge? Why mom going to work every day? Like, why she on the bus? You know what I'm saying? The snow in the winter, you know, with my little sister, like, I'm seeing this stuff, and it's just like, it's bugging me out. So then I just keep on dreaming harder. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a lot of pain, bro, because these same very people to this day, although they have grown, we all have grown, it's still that same level of mentality that can never be fixed, man. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, you have all of this, and then like, it causes you to be mentally unhealthy. You have to be mentally unhealthy to deal with all of these personalities of people. I mean, this even somebody with an addiction, bro. Like, it's so like, it consumes everything around you. That person will consume everything around them, and will literally be the detriment of everybody around them, and still make you feel like you gotta like care for them, and you gotta love them, and you gotta still keep like, you know, finding ways to appease them or to. It's weird. You know, some of these environments we come up in are so weird. It's like, yo, like, it's very painful, man. And I don't want to keep rambling, but it's painful, and it will cause you to be mentally unhealthy and unstable.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot to unpack, because what you're describing is like a scene from Power or
Yeah. Yeah, like
BMF.
when I was like 13, so we up north, I'm like 12, 13, coming home from middle school, like, and the FBI and the DEA, you know what I'm saying, hit my mom's crib, you know what I'm saying, on behalf of my brother. And it's like, you know, that was really like a challenging time, you know what I'm saying, for everybody, because we didn't know what was gonna happen with him. And it was a lot of stress. It was a lot of stress on my mom, you know what I'm saying, on her husband. And it just was very weird, because at the same time, it's like that happened, but like he was mad that they were mad. Like he was mad because they were, you know, mad at him. Like, bro,
Your
like,
brother was
yeah,
mad
like,
at
you know what I'm saying? Like, to this day, you know what I mean? To this day, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, the mentality of, it's almost like somebody comes home from prison, they're celebrated. You have this party like they just graduated from getting their doctorate degree just because they did a bid, you know what I'm saying? But you have somebody that's trying to do that, the whole family don't even care they even in school. It's so weird, man. And it's just some examples of the mentalities within my environment that I escaped from. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. So with your environment being that toxic, were you, like you talked a little bit about counting money whilst you were a kid, but eventually becoming a teenager, I know we all kind of become rebellious. Did you delve into that life?
I
also?
did. I never was rebellious, but I delve in that life out of necessity. And I know a lot of everybody else say the same thing, but like, you know, also around that time, shortly after that, my mom had my mom had the best job she ever had. She worked for this communications company called XO Communications. And when 9/11 hit, they had an office in the towers or whatever. And they went out of business, you know what I mean? They gave my mom an opportunity to move to New Jersey or to stay. Or if she wanted to keep her job, she could move to New Jersey. Or if she stayed, they gave her a severance pay. She chose to stay, take the money, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever, but they blew that, you know what I mean? But I guess for me, because I had a great big imagination, I always able to use organized sports, you know what I'm saying, and with organized sports, you know, all the way from 6, 7 years old through the different, you know, St. Stephen's, Northeast Recreation Center, Woodward Park, all the recreation centers around the city, you know, I was able to travel. You know, back then they had vans come pick you up, and if you played basketball, y'all travel. So I was able to travel within the city and meet other people, other kids, other coaches, be in different environments where it was kind of, it was showing me the glitches on my environment. Like, oh, so, okay, so I can, if I leave from this particular house and go 30 minutes this way, I'm going to see Dublin, Hilliard, whatever the suburbs are, whatever those schools are, different restaurants I would have never seen, things I would have never experienced. Like, okay, God, like, so it is a different life out here. I see it. You're showing me, but it's just in fragments, right? Because, you know, once we leave and go back home, it's right back. You know what I mean? So to kind of make a full circle, like once everything happened with my brother and my mom losing her job, it was like, you know, it was. I always had this responsibility on me for some ever odd reason to be responsible for adults when I was a kid. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, he can't hustle no more. My mom lost her job. What are you going to do? So now it's like, okay, if I can't hustle no more, I'm going to hustle through you. You know what I mean? I can't do nothing, touch nothing, but I could send you to do it. Or I could, at least you can help me scrape the money up for some more front money. You know what I'm saying? And I could be low key. I could drive your cars. I mean, I was driving at 15. I had cars at 15 and a half years old. By the time I left high school, I probably had like 4 vehicles easily. So it's just like, and I ain't even brought my dad into the picture at all. If I brought my dad into this conversation or into this story, it'd really blow your mind. But in all, it's like all these different adults, they depend on you because now it's almost like my wife, she has a major credit business, right? They call her Credit Lady C. So it's almost like if you know the different stories where a parent can put a bill in a child's name, put the cable bill in your child's name. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, they torch up their credit. So it's the same scenario. Like, well, I can't physically be out here in these streets. If nothing else, I could make you my liaison and, you know.
Oh, so that's
you know what I mean?
Your dad was doing?
My brother, per se. Brother. You know what I'm saying? And then as I got a little older as a teen, you know, I did dibble and dab with my dad on different business adventures, stuff like that, or just always happen to be a resource to make something happen. And then even if it's just transportation, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's just, okay, you sit here and you got to sit here and watch this, you know, while I go do this. You know what I mean? Make sure, you know, it's just being put in a position where in so many ways, it's like, this is the reality and it just becomes normal. You know what I'm saying? You just go with the flow because that's your life. Like, it's not like nothing like, and ain't even nothing that you can decide or undecide. It's just, this is what it is. This is how we live. And, you know, that's what it is.
So, have you ever seen anybody killed in front of you? Did you ever see that while you were a kid?
I seen somebody killed in front of me recently, but when I was a kid, I never seen nobody killed, but severely injured. I seen severe violence. And for me, for myself, it's only been 2 times a man. I've been at gunpoint twice in my life. And one of those people was from my dad.
What?
Yeah, so yeah, I've been robbed at gunpoint before. And I had an altercation with my father in his home when I was living with him. And put a shotgun underneath my neck. You know what I'm saying? What? So I mean, I've seen crack fiends get pistol whipped, all type of different things, man. It's terrible. It's terrible. I can only imagine how these kids is really coming up. The kids that's really living in them trenches, man. I can only imagine what they seeing and what they going through. I know what I went through. But, you know, you see a lot of different things you ain't supposed to see, you know, which then makes the movies that you see become very real. You know, it makes all that stuff like, you know, you have this level of PTSD, man, that it's never going to leave you. It's just always going to be with you.
So you get PTSD when you watch, like, violent movies?
Yeah, I mean, violence, man, like, yeah, you know, And then that's why, at one point, and as we, I don't know how long we're going to talk, how much of our story we're going to get into, but, I was almost a professional boxer. You know what I'm saying? I should have been, could have been. I was really, but I just didn't never officially turn pro. But with that being said, like boxing, I needed that to help me harness all of the pain, all of the anger, and redirect it, into a positive way. And I fell in love with it. I mean, because that was a thing that as a kid, like, I always knew I was going to do, but it was like, oh, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? How you going to box? Like, so I never really tried it. You know what I'm saying? But once I had the opportunity to try it, like, I felt it consumed my whole life, and I did very well at it. But to just kind of get more, go back on track, it's just, PTSD. You know what I'm saying? When I was 18 and a half, I was diagnosed with bipolar schizophrenia. You feel me? And it's real, man. Like, it's really tragic, man, that, our environments, or at least for me, like my environment polluted my mind so much. You know what I'm saying? And I just always felt like it wasn't fair, bro. Like, when I would see my friends who would try to be gangster, or they would try to be whatever they was trying to be, and to see them not really catch on to that till they got in high school and all that or whatever, it's like, bro, like, I would give anything to get away from here, man. To this day, listen, 2025 come, I will not be in Columbus, bro. I will not be living here. I don't care. I'm not living here no more. Like, I'm gone. I'm telling y'all, mark the day, the April 22nd, whatever. I will not be here come January. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have loved to had the opportunity to go off to school, to be an exchange student, to anything to get away, man, from all of this craziness. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't in my cards, and I'm okay with that. But now I can kind of dictate that now, and I feel like that's the choice I need to make for my sanity. You know what I'm saying? My future sanity is like, yo, like, I gotta get up out of here, man. For real. Yo, it's not easy, bro. But I can't be my best self. You know what I'm saying? It's too much. Just, what can I say? It's just too much baggage. It's too much trauma, and it's like God has pissed something. God, for whatever reason, God has made me have too much compassion for people, man, and just too much. And then not only to have that, but be putting me in situations where I have to show it, and I have to be away for people, and it's like, I don't know how much longer I can do it. I've been doing it my whole life. And a lot of times it's not reciprocated, you know what I'm saying? And it's just very, it's a lot of weight, it's real heavy all the time. Because then it's like, well, if you don't have the compassion, then now, you're made out to be, I don't know, like you're not looking out, or, you changed up, you switched up. And all of those different types of things, right? But it's just very difficult, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, once I am in high school and I am having to partake in these things, like, the only thing that kept me on track was basketball. And so I went to 2 high schools. I went to Beechcroft, this school called Beechcroft, my freshman year. And then I transferred to a school called Westone my sophomore year. So I graduated from Westone, went to Westone 10th, 11th, and 12th. So I come there as a sophomore, make JV, you know what I mean? And we scrimmaged. I want to say we might have scrimmaged, like, I think it's this school called Walnut Ridge, and during that scrimmage, the senior or the varsity, I played guard. So the guards, that were on varsity, they were acting scared in the scrimmage. So the coach put me in, it was my JV coach, you know what I'm saying, put me in, and he was a great coach, you know what I'm saying, put me in, and ever since then I was on varsity. Ever since then, you know what I'm saying, but you know, I played behind a guy named Ted Scott, Theodore Scott. He was a year older than me, and he led this city in scoring. Like, he's a real baller, professional baller. He didn't quite make it to the NBA, but he's a legend. You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't quite get to see the floor. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta think, he's a senior. Well, I'm a 10th, he's 11th, and then he's a senior, I'm an 11th. So I'm like, okay, I can sit behind him, because we going at it in practice. You know what I'm saying? And so when he leaves, it's my turn to become a senior. The coach cuts me off the team. You know what I mean? So, and to this day, I don't have closure with that. And to this day, that really led to a downward spiral in my life. My senior year on is when I really, really started to become really dark and dark-minded. And just really, I started to really see the powers that be out here really start to take a hold of me a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, damn, like, the one thing I had to look forward to is now gone. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what to do about it. Even to this day, I still have dreams. And it's different. It's crazy because I've never had closure with that still. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying all that to say, like, it's just so many different things that can destroy a young man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just grateful that I'm still here because a lot of people ain't here no more. Like my best friends, you know what I'm saying? We was 17, 18. And even back then, in jail for murder. All the way back then, is killing people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I slept head to foot with him. This is my, he used to pick my little sister up from school, like all type of stuff, like. And so just being around these different personalities, man, is just like, it's crazy, yo. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
So you mentioned that you were diagnosed with bipolar schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Prior to that, how did they find out?
I had what they call an episode. My first, and even that I got stories for days, man.
Let's get into it.
I had stories for days. So I graduate June. I turn 18. I missed. So in order to get into college, you gotta take. I think back then, I don't know if it was an SAT or some type of test you gotta take to get into college, right? I had a basketball tournament in the summer that I was a part of by one of my greatest mentors in my life. He was a coach. His name was Coach Vic. You know what I mean? So we had a basketball tournament, but it was on the same day I was supposed to take this test. And he ain't know I had to take the test, so I ain't never tell him. So I skipped the test and went to go play in the tournament. You know what I mean? So by me not taking that test, when it was time for me to go to college, I had to go to junior college or community college, which was at Columbus State. So I was, 18 years old, you know what I'm saying? Graduate. So and then I missed fall quarter so I didn't start college until like winter that, whatever. But in between that, me graduating and me starting college, like, I never portrayed to be like this street nigga or this big time street dude. That's never was me, you know what I'm saying? But particularly that year, that summer was very, what the kids say, motion. I had a lot of motion, you know what I'm saying? And so I remember this is when this is around the time, Cameron and all them, and it was in and out of Columbus and stuff like that. And he came out with this city called Purple Haze. You know what I'm saying? And this is when, like, I was, selling weed very heavy. All these different exotic weeds was coming out, or if it was Hydro, Purple Haze, whatever the case may have you. You know what I mean? So, and then it was the same time when Nas came out with Street's Disciple. you know what I mean, where he on the cover of Street's Disciple, and it's almost like a reenactment of somewhat a depiction of the Last Supper, right? So those were the two albums I was listening to very heavily during this time. And so I got some Purple Haze, man, one night. And this is a time when a movie called The Passion of Christ came out. I got it on bootleg. Got the bootleg. This is when everybody's buying bootlegs. They use bootleg and everything. You know, I was like, I'm gonna have my own movie night. So I had my weed, had the movie. So now mind you, this is a time when my mind is real dark. I'm all over the place, you know what I mean? Trying to find myself. And so I put the movie on, I'm high as a kite. Put the movie on. And to this day, I have not watched this movie since this day.
Oh, really?
Because I put the movie on, and from what I can remember, the scene comes on, the movie opens up where it's the time where Judas basically sold out Jesus, and they like, yo, I know where he at. You know, they snatch him up, and I probably didn't make it 30 minutes into the movie, and you know, this was around, I had hair, I had braids, and I had, back then dreads wasn't this thing. It was singles. Like, you would have braids, they would be single braids, and they would look like my single braids were in my hair for so long, they looked like dreads. You know what I mean? And so my hair was real woolly, right? And so 30 minutes go into the movie. Next thing I know, man, something came out of the TV, man, got on me. Something came out of the TV, bro, and got in me. You feel me? And I ain't been the same since that day. And that happened. So something came out of the TV, got into me, and like, I'm looking in the mirror, you know what I'm saying? My whole body is glowing, right? I got a tattoo called Heaven's Finest, right? Heaven's Finest, right? And in my mind, my hair is really woolly. Of course, I'm much thinner than I was then than I am now. So I'm looking in the mirror and I see Jesus, bro. I don't see me. I see Jesus, Black Jesus. The mirror cracked, everything. Like, the mirror cracked when I looked at it. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because, probably a year or two after that same mirror and dresser I gave to my little sister. And if she still had it today, you could see the crack in the mirror. Oh, wow. I swear to God. You know what I mean? So that happened. And so then after that, like, I just couldn't stop crying uncontrollably for days, bro. And everything was just so weird from then on around me. I don't know if you're familiar with, it's like a poem or something. It's called The Footprints in the Sand. It's Christian based, but basically the footprints in the sand where, like, it's someone asking, you're asking God, where have you been? You told me to seek for you. I'm just paraphrasing, right? You told me to do all these things. I've done them all. I don't even feel you around me. And then it's like you're walking in the sand, you're having this conversation with God, and then you look and you see two sets of footprints, and the other footprints is God's. So footprints in the sand. So this is happening. And so, like, at the time, like, I was living in my dad's basement. Like, it flooded down there from some kind of way. It was a small flood. And there was, it was another set of footprints that kept being around me down there. And then so as you got to think, as I'm everything I'm telling you, I'm conveying this to people around me, right? And guess what? That nigga, you need to take that, you know what I mean? Like, he need to be seen type of time. You feel me? So then it's like, okay, it got to the point where, yeah, they had to send the people to come get me, or they had to, you know what I mean? Actually, two of my best friends at the time took me to the hospital, man. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, I ain't been the same since, man. I've done probably been in and out of the mental hospital probably like at least 7 times. I know for sure 7 times. I can vividly count, probably more. But within like the mental trauma of all of that, it's like God is telling me like, yo, I gotta take you through this. I gotta take you through this. It's not gonna make sense. God is telling me this while I'm going through all of this. Literally, like, you're not gonna understand why I'm doing this to you right now. I just gotta take you through this war. I gotta take you through this spiritual and mental war right now. And it's not gonna make sense to you. And so I go through all of this, and I just ain't been the same since, man.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So how were you able to turn your life around and totally get out of that environment?
I would say weirdly when God blessed me with my wife. You know what I'm saying? And the way that happened, how he's blessed me, you know what I'm saying, even through trials and tribulations within meeting my wife, it's like he was still meaning it for my good. You know, I was blessed to have, it's like I was blessed to have a family at a young age and to be a family man at a young age, because it kept me, it set me down, you know, and they gave,
That's what age did you?
So I think I got married like 24, 25, but I had my first child like 19, 20-ish. But we met, I guess we met when I was, I don't know if I was still 18 when we met or 19, but nonetheless, 2007 is when my baby girl was born. So just from that day, from her, the day she was born, it just, and the day that, you know, I was able to basically secure being a family man with my woman, like, that's what changed my life. You know what I'm saying? Because even then I was still trying to hustle, and I literally, like, I had a little product and stuff that I got fronted and everything like that. And well, I had bought what I bought. You know, I like to pay up front. So I paid for something up front, and then I got fronted a whole extra, whatever. And so I literally, like, once I made the money back that I was going to owe dude, I got everything back to him and said, bro, I got, you know, she had helped me get a job at this middle school as a janitor. And I ain't looked back since, man. You know what I'm saying? I just literally just said, you know what? For whatever reason, I'm meant to take care of this woman and this little girl. You know what I mean? And I think that's what really changed my life. It changed my life. It instantly changed my life. Like, to where, like, sometimes your life had changed gradually, but then sometimes things happen to you or for you that causes you to change at an instant notice. Like, you can't even think, make a decision. There is no decision to make but do this. Like, there is nothing else, right? Like, and that's just what I did.
Wow. So how did you know that she was the one?
I knew that she was the one. I knew that she was the one. You know, it's common for when you cuddling with a young lady for you to hold her and for you to be the big spoon. I knew she was the one when she would hold me at night. You know what I'm saying? And we was young kids. Like, that's what I'm saying. I think I was 19. I don't remember if I was still 18 when I met her, but for sure 19. And I had already went through everything I done told you, right? I already been through all of that. And this was a certain peace of mind she gave me with her presence, especially at nighttime when it was the roughest for me to even fall asleep, because I was so scared. You gotta mind you, I went through all this stuff mentally. You know what I mean? So it's every time I shut my eyes, it's trauma. Because when I was going through all of this, it felt like I was in a different realm, almost like Stranger Things. Or like, it felt, you know, it's like you got them stories where people would be like, yo, I went to hell, and they come back and tell you about it and all that. Like, I ain't said I went to hell, but what I experienced was so trauma, had so much hell within it. Like, I would be scared to go to sleep because I'm having all these experiences. No one's believing me. You know what I'm saying? I'm crazy. right? So it's like her presence was more so like a peace. And then as we gradually built a friendship and then companionship from there, it was just no one else could at that time, no other young lady was able to give me that. You know what I mean? And I needed that.
How long have you guys been married for?
14 years, but we married 14 years. We have a 17-year-old. So we've probably been in each other's life somewhere around 19 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It makes me remember the quote. They say, like, if a woman, it's like, make sure you are his peace and he will be your rock, and she became your peace, and then you were able to be there for her. And it's so hard for we men to be vulnerable to women. How has it been? Because she would see you in your most vulnerable states, right? How has it been for you?
Me being vulnerable, as you can see, I don't even know you, and I could talk to you this freely. I've always been able to be vulnerable. I mean, I never was a man that was scared of being vulnerable. I always felt like that was a superpower of mine. Is my ability to be vulnerable, and to be, just as open as I am. Because what you see is what you get. You know what I mean? I can't. This who I am. You gotta accept it or not, and that's with anybody, even in business. Yo, this is what the situation is. Like, boom, like, and so it never was a problem with me being vulnerable with her or in front of her or me worrying about her judgment. Good or bad judgment, right? Because even through everything, I've always knew who I was at my core. So it was very easy, and then she made it easy to be vulnerable. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, I think some situations a woman can make it hard for a man to be vulnerable.
My name is Sierra Frazier, and I'm Gregory Frazier's wife. What are you laughing for?
So how do you feel hearing him talk about you like that?
It actually really makes me smile to hear him talk about me like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask real quick, how did you guys meet?
Do you want to tell me?
No. He asked you.
We met at a telemarketing job that we were both working. And yeah, we were just there one day. I think we had to go in on a Saturday. We sat next to each other and we just developed a friendship.
Oh, nice. So how do we move from friendship to relationship to marriage?
I'll let Greg answer that.
You brought her in. You took a commercial break for a reason. So I did a lot of talking already.
Yeah.
The people probably tired of me talking. So
that is a very complicated story. I don't know if you have enough time for that story.
I got time. It's up to you.
So, I mean, basically, I guess we developed a friendship. We would talk on the phone. We would hang out. I guess we just started developing a like for each other outside of that. It just turned into something else. Like, once we started having conversations and realizing how similar our backgrounds were, we kind of grew up very similarly, and was able to be there for one another. I think it just grew from there.
So he shared that he was vulnerable with you, and then you seen all that struggle that he was going through, I can't imagine, I wasn't there, but I can imagine night terrors, and then he would probably be waking up and all sweaty and be screaming. And how come you weren't scared? And a lot of women would run away and they would leave him in his weakest moment. How come you've been here throughout?
So I've never really experienced, even to this day, like him waking up. I mean, outside of like dreams and things like that, but like scared of the mental illness or anything like that. So I mean, for me, when I found out about the mental illness, it was just more so, what can I do to help? And how can I educate myself? And then how can I educate him? And how can I educate our family and like our loved ones around us so that we can kind of all come together to deal with this instead of just having him to deal with it on his own. So I think that was really my main approach, you know, talking to doctors, researching, and just kind of finding out everything that I could about what he was dealing with, because I didn't know what to do, but I never felt like I didn't want to be with him. I never felt like leaving, or I never felt like it was too much. I just felt like, this is my husband, this is the man that I love. How can I help him?
Also, was he diagnosed after you
I
guys
was
got-
I was diagnosed before I met her. So I was diagnosed 18 and a half. So when we were going through the stage, you know, before marriage, or mainly I guess like the stage before our daughter was born, she didn't know what I was going through, but she knew that, you know, I think that she knew, or she at least felt that, you know, he may have some issues. Or I guess for me, it wasn't about her knowing. It was about the peace she gave me of her not even knowing, but still the level of comfort she was providing me when she didn't really know what was going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when you fast forward that into when we did get married, and her taking a more of approach like she's just was saying, that also helped, you know, help me out a very great deal.
And
So
I think,
I'm sorry.
well, no, I just feel like it's a big misconception with mental illness, right? Because like he said, when he was going through that, and, you know, everyone is looking at him like, oh, you know, he's crazy, he's this, he's that. But like he said, when we got together and, you know, that happened, I didn't necessarily know. And he didn't have another situation like that probably for about maybe 5 years, right? Would you say that?
Nah, I mean, you talking
2000,
Raccoon Creek is,
two-
I mean, not, yeah, you talking Alcott Glen when you was pregnant.
Yeah, that was 2010 when that happened.
So
So if you're 18 and a half to 24,
yeah.
I would say it was like a 5-year time
Yeah.
frame. So I feel like people think when they hear mental illness, they just think like, oh, this person is just going to be spazzing out all the time, or this person is going to be flipping from one extreme to the next. It was not like that at all.
Okay.
At all. So it's more so of like a mental health condition where you may not have anything happen for 5 years, and then something happens. You know what I mean?
A trigger.
Yeah. So it wasn't necessarily like a situation that
Like a day-to-day
we dealt with.
thing. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we didn't deal with it. Like
I was just more so talking about when we did meet, or when we was hanging out, and she would spend the night. She didn't really know. I knew, but it's just a level of, like I said, level of comfort and peace as a young lady that she was giving me at the time that no other young lady was giving me. You know what I mean? It's kind of answer your question how I knew even back then she was special, I guess. For me, I should say. Yeah.
How did you know he was the one for you?
I would say the same. Like, I don't know, from the moment we met, I just felt it was like, we used to call it like a magnet. It was like it's like we have these internal magnets to each other. Like, even when he talks about like me holding him, like we would take turns like holding each other, and it was like our bodies were like magnets. Like, we just were made to be together. And I mean, even like before, you know, we got to that level, it was just always, I just always felt comfortable around him. I felt comfortable talking to him. We had similar dreams, even though I say we have similar backgrounds. Like, we both, you know, would just talk about our futures and where we wanted to be and things we wanted to do. And we just both dreamed so big. And I just loved that about him. And I just always felt comfortable. You know what I mean? I always felt protected and seen. And we enjoy the same thing. So it's always fun. You know what I mean? And then, as you really like get to grow with someone and like know them, then it's like, okay, this is it. I don't need to, date anyone else or anything like that. Cause once you find your person, you just know. Yeah.
So what is one or two things that you think has held the two of you together this far?
God Almighty has kept us together. And I say that, I mean, like, I'm serious, but like I'm joking, but like God himself has held us together. I think God is responsible for the reason that we're even together in the first place. Just with some of the trials and tribulations in the beginning, it's like God kept bringing us back to each other. So I would say God wholeheartedly. And then also my husband's willingness not to give up, because I'm very emotional and he's very sound. So he doesn't live his life off of emotions. He's very he uses his mind and, he kind of makes logical decisions. I follow my heart and how I feel at the moment. So he's always kind of like that sounding board for, I'm going to let you have your moment and then, we'll come back and figure this out later. So those would be the two things for me.
How about you?
Nah, I mean, she hit it right on the money. I would say that, and then I would also add in just purpose. It just seems like for whatever weird reason, our purpose, our individual purposes is for us to be together for a bigger purpose. And it's just always felt like that. And it's like purpose over everything, right? It's like purpose even over the marriage. And I think for me, that's what, when she said like God kept us together, I feel like that's what it means for me. It's like, it's the purpose that kept us together through God. You know what I mean? It's like in order for me to fulfill my purpose, like she got to be there, or my purpose actually is intertwined into her purpose. So it's weird. Like we could try to run away from each other, but you know what I mean? It's almost like, what's the movie with Will Smith when he was a superhero? What's the movie? Hancock. When it was like a woman version of him, and they found each other. You know what I'm saying? It was like once they got together, their powers was disappearing. So it's like they couldn't be together. It's like the opposite with us. It's like we gotta be together in order to keep our superpowers. Wow. You know what I mean? Yeah.
We gotta be together in order to keep our superpowers.
Yeah.
That's so dope. Yeah, and you said something too about like purpose of a marriage. And there's something I always tell people, like when you are in a relationship or a marriage, I say the word relationship, there are two words in there, relate and ship. We do the relate part so easily, but it comes to the ship. So when you travel on a ship, like life is a journey and we are all on the ship. But you got to find somebody that has the same purpose, who's going on in the same direction. If I'm going north and you're going south, we eventually going to fall apart because we have different purpose. We have different directions. And it's so dope that you said it, purpose over everything. Because I think most of us don't even figure out our purpose on this earth. And then we get into relationships and entanglements and whatever situationships, and we find out, this person I'm not who I'm supposed to be. And we lose ourselves in the relationship. We lose ourselves in the marriage, and we realize that, I've wasted over 20, 30 years in this marriage or relationship. And it's so dope that how you guys broke it down. So how were you people able to remove, I know, Sierra, we didn't go too deep into your story, but we may do it another time. But I know you mentioned you have similar backgrounds. So how were you guys able to get yourself out of that situation, that poverty, and becoming financially free?
That took God also. I feel like God put something in each of us, and it's like no matter where you come from, that doesn't matter, right? It just matters what you're going to do with your life today. So you can grow up poor, with bad credit, no job or whatever, and then you can wake up one day and decide, I'm going to work, I'm going to repair my credit, I'm going to save money, I'm going to budget, I'm going to, change my life, I'm going to buy a house, whatever. And that's just kind of what we did. We worked together. We had one bank account. Both of our paychecks went into that bank account. I would pay all of the bills every single week because he got paid weekly, I got paid bi-weekly. And we started really setting a plan up for our future. And the first thing on that checklist was to purchase a home. And for us, it was we want to purchase a home before our daughter starts kindergarten. And she started kindergarten, but we actually bought our first house when she was in the kindergarten. And I say that for a reason, because you have to speak those things out of your mouth and really, manifest what you want. You know what I mean? And put prayer behind it, but, faith without works is dead. So you also have to do the work. But us saying that, it actually, it did happen. It didn't happen as soon as she was starting kindergarten, but from there, we started paying off debt and, paying off our cars. And
I think for me, we just realized and even though when you said it's hard to do or it's difficult, I think the hard and difficult part is it don't happen right away and it takes discipline. That's the hard, but the easy part for me, it was all we got to do is write it down and go do it. And we was seeing all right, we said we was gonna do that, we did that. We said we gonna do this, we did everything we said we gonna do, even if it's not in our timing, we still, for whatever reason, are able to accomplish it to the smallest of goals, to the biggest of goals. And it was just we got something here. Okay, it's kind of you figure okay, we in the groove. You know what I'm saying? Long as if we say we gonna do it and we put it out in the atmosphere, 10 times out of 10, it's gonna happen. It always has.
Tithing also.
Yeah, tithing. Yeah,
that was a big part of it. Tithing. And being faithful to God as well. That was also a big part of the game plan. Yeah.
So, but I like what he just said, that writing it down. The scriptures talk about writing down and making. So how had you guys given your life to Christ before even you guys got together, or how did you guys
I know for me,
find God?
I always had them. I never, to this day, I never had a come to Jesus moment or, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's something I know, sometimes the law is just on your heart. It's just, I know, I was younger, I would go to church with my cousins, my sister. You know what I'm saying? My sister's family, right? I was spending a lot of time with them, and her grandmother had some kind of position at the church. I forgot the name of the church, but it's off of Windsor, north side of Columbus, near Windsor and Cleveland Avenue or whatever. And so we'd kind of be introduced to church a little bit like that here and there, but I just always had a good head on my shoulders, and I always had some kind of voice in my head that just always I thought had to be God. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain it. When I was little, it was I heard these people talking about God, that must be who he is. This person that's in my head that's telling me, that's literally guiding me in my dreams. That has to be who they're talking about. And that's all I followed. And so I never had a moment where I was introduced. It just was something in my head talking to me, you know what I'm saying? And I listen. And I know for her, I came to her story, but I know Like she had a praying grandmother, and I know you could pick it up from here, but I mean, I know she came up around church and around her grandmother, you know what I'm saying, who also had a position within the church that we got married at. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my grandma was saved my entire life. So she would come and get me and take me to church every single week. And even Wednesday Bible studies, she would come and get me, even as a teenager, probably all the way up until maybe my junior year of high school. Like once we moved to Hilliard, she wasn't coming all the way out there. But yeah, so she would take me to church, and you know, we would sit there, and I don't know if I necessarily had my own relationship with God at that time, but I was there. But when we got married, the year we got married is when he had his mental episode. And then about 4 months later, I gave birth to our second child. And so that happened with him. And then like we were maneuvering through that. Then we had this beautiful baby girl. And then I get really, really sick. And I literally almost died. So we were very tested that first year of our marriage. And God pretty much, that's how we knew, like, okay, God has put us together, and we have to give our lives to him, because I was a person who felt like I was in control of everything. And when I woke up and had my first seizure and my brain was working properly and I was like screaming for help in my mind, but nothing was coming out of my mouth and I couldn't control my body, I knew at that time, like, you're not in control. God is in control. So for me, I feel like that was the turning point for everything as far as like us building that relationship on our own with God. And, you know, within that year, we started going to church. We got saved. We got really involved. And then one day, God just literally spoke to me, and I had never heard God's voice. And he told me, like, you'll never have another seizure again. And I haven't to this day. And I was 23 years old on 10 medications a day. I couldn't drive. I couldn't care for my child. It's okay. You good? Okay. I couldn't drive. I couldn't care for my child. Like I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. So, you know, for God to completely restore my health, restore my husband's health, give us a healthy child, and then, you know, keep us going on this path of life was just a miracle, honestly. So that's kind of how we really started, like, getting in our word, in our faith.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Greg, so for someone with your background that has all that trauma and still is, the person is old, or someone who is younger, how can that person get out of there?
I think that it's about understanding the essence and the importance of the three levels of time, right? You got your past, the present, and the future, right? And literally understanding, and then if you are a believer, right, and you believe that, you know, you can be reborn, you can be renewed, you can be whole and healed. Do you really believe that, though? Because if you believe that, then why are you still living in the past? Like, literally, like, why are you still living with the things that happened yesterday, the things that happened an hour ago from now, that you literally cannot change? You cannot change what happened yesterday. You cannot change your parents, who your parents are. You can't change your circumstances. Like, how quickly or are you able to move on from the past? Are you able to not look too far in the future? Or are you able to live in the present day? Are you okay today? Do you have your manna for today? Do you have, you know, your necessities for today? You know, are you healthy today? Does someone love you today? You know what I'm saying? Do you have shelter today? Right? I know for me, that's how I live. Like, all I got is today. All I got right now is this conversation I'm having with you. And it's like, okay, like, if I do believe, like, why can't I believe that I'm healed? Like why I still gotta keep being triggered? Why I gotta keep reverting back to what happened? Why did it happen? Like, what? Like, nah, like, I'm gonna force myself to remove that from my life because it doesn't exist anymore.